Okay, AT Brant 30 is asking about the impact of string gauge. So depending on what type of string you're looking at, you know, the common way most people think about it is 16 gauge, 17 gauge, 18 gauge. Some of the brands that use a metric system of measurement, you may see 125, 130, 135. So what that boils down to is, it's ultimately how big around the string is. That's the diameter of the string in millimeters. So if you see 130, it's 1.3 millimeters in diameter. Not diameter, well, I'm doing this, that's circumference, diameters across. So most common is 16 or 16 and 16 light. So basically the thinner you go with string, so when you go from 16 to 17, 17 to 18, that's getting thinner. So the thinner strings are going to be typically more elastic, more responsive, less durable. So that's kind of the trade-off that you have. Very popular gauge now is 16 light. A lot of the polyester strings that are out there are 125, 1.25 millimeter diameters, and just kind of gives you the best of both worlds. And because they are polyester, the material is inherently more durable. So you can go thinner and still maintain some level of durability. Back in the good old days when I was a kid playing and breaking strings all the time, I would use Prince Topspin 15L. So 15L is very thick in tennis string terms. And that's what made the strings last back in the day, is just that they were thick. This is kind of pre-polyester and everything else. So, but now the tendency is, for most people, they're in that kind of 16, 16L, even 17 gauge realm that kind of gives you the best of all worlds. So again, the higher that number goes, 16, 17, 18, the thinner the string, more playable, less durable. Gauges in a nutshell. Okay, so Nicholas Romanov's got a question about Wilson Pro Staff 97, assuming he's playing with, and asking about the proper way to put lead tape on the racket. Well, the beauty of lead tape is that it's really easy to put on and take off, because there's an experimental component to using lead tape. So the idea with lead tape is that you can kind of customize placing weight, additional weight on the frame. You're going to want to do that in a balanced way. You're not going to want to put lead tape on the right side of the frame, not on the left side. You want to make sure you're kind of counterbalancing it. The Pro Staffs, interestingly enough, if you look really closely, they use this little piece on the side here that they've used since the 80s called PWS, perimeter weighting. The idea with it is it's 3 and 9, keeps the racket stable if you hit it off center. You could think of the same thing being accomplished by putting lead tape on the frame. So Pro Staff's already got a little bit of that going on. My starting point with it is, if you want to make the racket feel a little more stable, a little more plow through, start it at 10 and 2. Just take little 1-inch, 2-inch strips, depending on how heavy you want to make it. These are already heavy rackets, somewhat, relatively speaking. So you don't want to go overboard. It might feel good for the first 5 minutes, but when you get into the second and third set and you can't lift your arm anymore, that's probably that you put too much lead tape on. So, but start at 10 and 2 and kind of work your way around. You can maybe work your way down more to 9 and 3. That's going to give you more stability kind of side to side, but it's not going to give you as much of a head-heavy balance. Head-heavy balance is going to give you more power, raise the sweet spot up a little bit, but you have to be able to get the racket around too. So there's ups and downs. Again, experimenting is the best way. It's really easy to peel it off and stick it on in a different spot. Test it out, see what you think. Lead tape's fairly inexpensive. It's less than $5 or $6 a roll, and I'd probably buy a roll of it and just try it out a little bit. I think there's something in there that might work for you. For today, I really appreciate all your questions. This is really cool to kind of get out from behind a computer every once in a while and talk tennis. Hope everybody's staying safe, and look forward to doing this again really soon. Take care.